So I know my next question for you is what resources are available for tenants and landlords, but I'm going to try and see if we're able to bring on Thelma Akita-Kealoha from our Maui. Hi, Thelma. Thank you so much for joining us. So Tracey is located primarily here on Oahu, but we do, like as we mentioned earlier in our conversation with Representative Hashimoto, we actually have mediation centers available at all of the other counties, and we're working closely with city and county individuals who are helping us do this. Rep. Hashimoto, can you introduce Thelma for us?
Yeah, so Thelma is in charge of Catholic Charities on Maui, and Catholic Charities is one of the primary groups that is coordinating the rental relief for Maui County, and I think that is one of the biggest components of all of this, is trying to make sure that we can get rental relief delivered to all who need it, and that is primarily if you're 80% AMI or below, and you will qualify for rental relief. And so Thelma will at least be able to tell us how it's been going, at least on Maui, and maybe that's representative of how it's going on other islands, of how rental relief is being delivered, because I think that's truly important.
Thelma, let's chime in if you can. What does Catholic Charities do on Maui, and what are some of the key programs for Catholic Charities on Maui? How's it going over there? I believe you might be in mute. So let's go to Tracey. I'm so sorry. We'll work that out. But Tracey, so what are some of the resources for landlords and tenants?
Well, definitely rental assistance, and that's a key one. It's also important we tell landlords and tenants to prepare for mediation. Landlords should talk to an attorney. We encourage tenants to reach out to legal aid, and they have a lot of great information. Legal aid actually has information on their website, both for attorneys and tenants, but they can also talk with tenants. The other important resource for tenants to reach out to is for financial counseling, to get a sense of, where are they at realistically, and in the future when rental assistance isn't available, what's that going to look like for them, so that they can plan realistically. And I encourage tenants, the more you can reach out to legal aid and financial counseling and rental assistance, or even if you recognize that eventually you're not going to be able to afford that unit or that residence, to check with other resources regarding other places to live, so that when you come into a mediation, you can come in with some concrete information. So, for example, I applied for rental assistance and I probably won't know for 2 months. So then they could craft an agreement for a certain period of time and then recheck in. Or I'm looking into alternate housing, but it won't be available for 4 months, and then maybe work on a payment plan. So the more information and reaching out to these various resources that are available, the better for tenant and landlord. So that's important.
Okay, we're going to try again to go to Thelma on Maui. And I'm going to ask kind of a little staff just to stay right there and let me know that it's coming through. Thelma, are you there again?
I am here.
Oh, yay!
I'm here.
So Thelma, we've learned from Tracey a lot about what the mediation centers do, but I want to give you an opportunity. What does Catholic Charities do in Maui? What are some of the key programs that you folks have?
We have several financial assistance programs. The largest being the MIRA program, which is the emergency rental assistance. Still cannot hear.
No, we can hear you. You're doing fine, Thelma. So what kind of stories are you hearing on the ground on Maui?
What are we hearing? Concerns for tenants, worried about being evicted, worried, earlier people were so nervous that they were borrowing money, emptying out their accounts. They were trying to make sure that their rent was paid, and they left other bills to the wayside because they were so concerned about being evicted. So, there is a concern for eviction. even though they're getting help now, they're still always concerned. And then rents are seemingly to spike now. So even more so, I think they're fearful of being evicted because if they're having difficulty now getting rent, paying their rent, when the rent is higher, how much more difficult is that going to be? And also, I think people don't understand how they qualify for this assistance. You know, we're just encouraging people to call. If they're not sure, call. That's the big thing.
So we'll be sharing with our audience the contact information for all the mediation centers. But Thelma, if you're still there,
Yes.
you know, do you know what the status of the rental assistance available on Maui is? Is it something that you are able to connect people who call Catholic Charities Maui? Are you being successful in connecting people with both the mediation services as well as the rental assistance programs?
As long, yes, of course, we want people to mediate. We want to encourage them to utilize the resources that are in the community. So definitely, we do refer to the mediation. We have spent over $8 million. We have provided assistance to Lanai and Molokai, $115,225 for Molokai and $54,333 for Lanai. There's been like over 1,400 applications that have come in for this assistance. We're partnering with MEO to do lots of outreach. The highest numbers we're getting is for Kihei, Lahaina, Kahului, and Wailuku. So people have been responding. We haven't noticed a real spike since the moratorium ended for the eviction moratorium, but there was a slight increase. And right now, we're just trying to do a lot of outreach so people don't stop reaching out. Even more so now, we want them to reach out for help.
So just roundabout numbers, Tracey explained to us that they had to staff up and hire some mediators. Has Catholic Charities also had to increase some of its staffing to be able to do this outreach services as well as the anticipated mediations?
Yes, definitely. Well, when we started this venture of the rental assistance, we did have to hire up. We were expecting a flood of people, so we did hire. We have staff statewide that are assisting the Maui applicants. So we encourage the use of all the websites that we have, one of which is the county and one of which is Catholic Charities. So that we also have a hotline, and we have people here that can answer questions and help you to move forward. So our intake specialist is very outgoing, very engaging. She is super kind to people, and she treats folks like their friends and neighbors, which is really nice to hear because that's what they need sometimes.
So wonderful to hear that that's what you folks are doing. I'm going to leave one question for all of our guests here on the eviction moratorium. I'll start with you, Thelma, and then go to Tracey and then Troy. Thelma, what's your one main takeaway that you want our viewers to know about the eviction moratorium process?
Gosh, there's so many, but one of the things the intake specialist wanted me to say is that people who are applying for assistance that need more assistance, they need to recertify. They cannot just stop and assume that they're going to be helped. They need to ask about continuing assistance. So, if you qualify, you know you need ongoing help, don't just assume that it's going to be there. You have to touch base with the people you're working with to say, I need additional help, because it is multi-month. You can be helped in multi-month for either rental assistance or utility assistance.
That's a great piece of advice. Tracey, one key takeaway for our audience.
So the takeaway is if you're a tenant and you receive a notice, contact the mediation center on the island where you reside right away. Remember, mediation is an opportunity for you to have a conversation with the help of a mediator, with your landlord, to work out an agreement that works for both you and your landlord. So please remember to contact your mediation center right away, or if they call you, respond to their call.
And Rep. Hashimoto, you get the last word on this.
Be proactive. I think we all have to be proactive during these times, because I think we need to figure out a solution to move out of where we are at this point. There is a lot of federal rental assistance available, and there is a push to September 30th to get a lot of these funds out, because we have to obligate 65% of these federal funds, or we possibly may have to give it back to the federal government. So we don't want that. We want to have that money stay in our Hawaii community. So if you feel like you qualify, make sure that you apply. On the neighbor islands, there is no wait. On Oahu, I know there is a limit. Each month they take 5,000 applications, but on the rest of the neighbor islands, there is no waiting time. So apply today and be proactive.
Be proactive. That's the number one piece of advice. So thank you to our guests, Rep. Hashimoto, Tracey Wiltgen of Mediation Center of the Pacific, and Thelma Akita-Kealoha for sharing their insights with us.